Angad, much has been made about the Tejas's safety record, which is of course a fact. 23 years of flawless flight since that first flight. 8 years since squadron service began. How do you read those numbers? This is a business where there's no room for sentiment. In your reporting, in your interactions, with the squadrons, what has the Tejas's safety record been like?
Shiv, I must mention to you that, it's you could be having just 4 aircraft and not had a single accident. They would have.
Marshal Chopra, I'll come right back to you. That question was for Angad. I'm coming right back to you. That question was for Angad. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm just coming to you right after that. Yeah. Angad.
Shiv, in my unsentimental view, frankly, I think too much is being made of safety records of any aircraft. We opened this segment by saying that this is an inherently risky business. Some of the finest aircraft in the history of military aviation or aviation have suffered horrible accidents in their design and development. The fact that the Tejas didn't is I would say lucky, certainly.
Yeah.
But it's not something we should be afraid of. I mean, that's the whole point of being on the cutting edge. Is you need to be pushing the envelope and you need to be taking, I grant you, calculated risks. But let me put it another way. If 10 years ago we'd had an LCA crash during supersonic testing, I personally wouldn't have been, too perturbed by that. It would have been an unfortunate cost paid in service of developing a national capacity.
Very, very interesting. Marshal Chopra, coming back to you, last round of questions to the both of you. Now an investigation will take place. The probe will go into all those details that you just listed out before a report is submitted, along with what I imagine are recommendations, if any, for the Air Force. But, I want to get into something a little deeper, because it's valuable to have someone like you who's been inside the cockpit, also investigated things. When a crash takes place, what happens in squadrons? What is the mood like in squadrons? In this particular case, like Angad said, and I agree with him, it was the best possible outcome. No casualties on the ground, the pilot is safe. But what happens in a squadron when a crash takes place?
Immediately when a crash takes place, the first thing is to find out if the pilot is safe. The flight commander takes charge of the situation. The CEO, maybe CEO or the flight commander will get into the helicopter with the doctors. They'll go to the landing site, pick up the pilot, see everything is good. So first, additional another team will go and, of course, secure the aircraft area so that nobody touches the evidence, and so that the court of inquiry can happen smoothly. But in the squadron, immediate once the pilot is safe, the family is informed. The family members of the CEO's wife and others will go down to the lady's house just to show that all is okay, your husband is fine, and he's just going to join back. Often in the evening we would have a drink in the bar with this boy. If he's already joined back, good. If not, he is still in the hospital, because there'll be some initial investigation. You will all get together, have some kind of a drink, and say, what the hell, we are all right, and we have to get back to flying. Normally, the aircraft will not be grounded. Next day, the squadron will fly absolutely normally. It's very important for our operational unit to quickly get back into the operational frame of mind. These things are part of our lives. We have lost very dear friends, course-mates, squadron mates, and life still goes on. I remember the day I ejected, they came to the hospital because I had a little shoulder injury, and the doctors wouldn't let me go to the squadron. So they brought a cake, and they cut a cake. They made us cut a cake in the hospital while we were still lying down to say, okay, another birthday, another life. And we, go on, and the boys outside open a bottle of champagne, and that's sort of had fun outside. So this kind of, traditions are there, but we get back to action, and that is the core issue. Yes.
And the action never stops. That's the, that's the thing. On the day, and maybe for a couple of days, there's a luxury of, doing this kind of thing. But fighter pilots always have to be on duty. Angad, a final question before I let the both of you go. there is no doubt, the Lord knows that the Tejas program has been a troubled one. It's taken its time, but now it's been 8 years in service. You've always been a strong advocate of getting these aircraft out there, getting them into service, and then doing what you need to do with the aircraft, improving them, tweaking them, etc., etc. But getting that experience going is very, very important. And like you said, the best possible outcome. I want to ask you, as someone who spent a lot of time with pilots, with these aircraft, with these squadrons, given the history of trouble, the kind of suspicion that has existed between HAL and the Air Force, etc., concerning the Tejas, what has the Air Force and the pilots' experience been like with the Tejas? What do squadron pilots now say about the Tejas?
I mean, to put it in the most simple terms, I don't think anyone who's been operating MiG-21s and MiG-27s is going to complain about jumping into a Tejas.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I mean, if you look at the two squadrons that are in service today, 45 and 18, that are flying the Tejas today.
Yes.
They come from MiG-21 and MiG-27 legacy, and for those guys, for those squadrons, it's a huge leap forward. The LCAs. So it really is that simple.
I love that. Yeah.
To just follow on from Air Marshal Chopra's point, not only will the squadrons get back to work ops normal tomorrow or today, the CO will lead from the front and will fly the first sortie and so on. But I don't think it's lost on any of these commanders and squadrons that they are writing the book for this aircraft. So the learning value and the findings from this incident, these are things that are going to hold us as a force and as a developer, as a nation that develops military aircraft in good stead down the line.